Well, hello everyone, and thank you for attending today's Mahr Product of the Month webinar. Today we're talking about the MarCal 16 ER Digital Caliper. I'm George Schuetz, your presenter. I'm the Director of Precision Gages of Providence, Rhode Island. And if you have any questions during the presentation, use the chat feature and I will respond to your question after the webinar by email. You can email me directly here at george.schuetz@mahr.com, and there's my phone numbers if you need to speak to me directly. Today we're going to learn about the MarCal 16ER Digital Caliper. We'll talk about what it is, its features, why I need it, some technical data, applications, and product of the month. Mahr offers a full suite of hand tools from digital calipers to depth gauges, digital indicators, and digital micrometers. They're all modern and feature-packed. They're high quality and meant to be used on the shop floor. And often there are prices at or lower than our major competitors. And as you may know and remember, we're a leader in low cost and transparent wireless data transfer because we offer the lowest cost receiver and free MarCom wireless integration software. So it provides a great low cost package. Now, just to summarize our line, we have a complete line of hand tools with 185 innovative products, 68 of those being integrated wireless. Again, ranging from digital calipers, to depth gauges, to digital indicators, and digital micrometers. The family includes 40 standard micrometers, 28 specialty micrometers. We have standard depth gauges, depth gauge kits. We have a full range of digital indicators with high resolution versions, versions with switchable resolutions. We have specific ones for bore gauge applications, and we have some new comparators coming out soon, which we'll introduce at IMTS this year. We also have a full range of very modern looking and up-to-date digital micrometers with and without integrated wireless. We have mic kits available. We also have the speed drive version that has integrated wireless along with specialty mics. Again, all these products are at very competitive prices. Today we're going to specifically look at the MarCal 16ER family of digital calipers. And you can see from this overview here, we have quite a variety. Today we're going to be talking about the 16ER, but just take a look at some of the other products we have here. We have the 16EWRI, which is the version with integrated wireless. It's IP67, comes in various ranges. We also have a wired version of the 16EWR. We have a kit version that allows us to use interchangeable contacts to do a lot of different measurements with the 16EWR-V. We also have a whole family of specialty calipers, some being carbide or ceramic tips, ones for scribing, for measuring key seats. We have ones with pointed jaws, a version for center distance gauging, ones that can do ID or OD specialty tips, or for measuring wall thicknesses. And then finally, we have a whole family of large capacity digital calipers that could go up to 40 inches if required. These are output versions. They are IP65, really meant to be used out on the shop floor. But today specifically, we're going to talk about the 16ER, which is really our entry-level digital caliper. It doesn't have output. It doesn't have a high IP rating, but it does have our reference systems and comes in 3 sizes, 0 to 6, 0 to 8, and 0 to 12 inches. But specifically, the product of the month is our very first caliper, the 0 to 6 inch version. Now, when we look at the 16ER, it's a very modern looking digital caliper. It has a nice sleek look. It has a high contrast digital display with 8mm digits. It has very long battery life, up to 3 years, a round depth rod. It has our reference system, which allows us to turn it on by either pressing a button or moving the slide, but it remembers the last 0 setting when it was last used. These digital calipers are made to international standards. All of our calipers have the unique lock feature, and this prevents users from accidentally pressing the 0 button during the measuring function. So this can save some misreading or misuse of the caliper on occasion. So this MarCal 16ER caliper is designed specifically to be used in inspection type areas. Now, what are the parts of the MarCal 16ER? Well, we have outside jaws. We have some jaws to measure inside diameters. There's a step gauge function, which set of a feature, which we'll show you momentarily. We have a locking screw that allows us to fix and place the sliding part of the jaw. We have with the reference versions, these are switched on by either pressing the on or moving the slide, and you can press the 0 button by pressing it less than 1 second, or if you hold it more than 3 seconds, you can get up into the setup mode. Along the scale is a reference scale for rough positioning, and again, at the end of the caliper is the round depth rod. Let's talk about some of the specific features for the MarCal 16ER. Of course, the big one is the reference system. With the older style calipers that are out there, you had to switch it on. You had to bring the jaws together to set 0, and then you can start making your measurements. But with the reference system now, the calipers always remember where they are. So you simply move the slide or press the on button. It remembers that last 0 position, and you can begin making measurements. No intermediate steps of closing the jaws and setting the 0 position again. We talked about the locking feature. The locking feature prevents errors from with the reference lock function. So once 0 position is secured, you can turn on the lock function, the lock key, and it prevents the operator from accidentally re-zeroing the caliper during measurements. So there's no chance of getting offset readings as you're making your measurements. MarCal 16ER features long battery life. With our reference system, even though it's really on all the time, no wireless function involved, we can get up to 3 years of battery life with the 16ER. Extremely long battery life. MarCal 16ER features lapped guideways. The caliper employs a lap guideway, which really, when you pick it up and move the sliding jaw back and forth, you can really feel the difference. This increases service life, and it really makes for a smooth and really a pleasurable caliper to use. So what types of measurements can you make with a caliper, a digital caliper? Well, typically we'll look at outside measurements, inside measurements. You can do depth gauge checks and a step function. So let's take a quick look at each one of those things in use. To make an outside measurement, this is probably what 90% of calipers are used for. The jaws are used to make outside measurements, whether it be round diameters, rectangular parts, or oval parts where you're looking for maybe the max diameter. So to begin the measurement, as with any type of caliper or gauging system, you want to ensure the jaws or the contacts are clean. If you haven't set the caliper to its reference position, you should do that. Or because it is a 16ER, the reference position is set from the last time you've done that. You open up the jaws enough to place the part between the jaws. You close the jaws with enough force to contact the part, but not without forcing the jaws or deforming the caliper. And there you are, you're ready to read your measurement of outside diameter or outside length. For inside measurement, you use the small jaws at the top of the caliper are used. Now, this could be a hole in a washer, some other inside diameters. It could be a rectangular slot, for example. So again, ensure jaws are clean, get the reference position set. You open up the jaws enough to place the part between the jaws, and then you use enough force to bring the contacts apart, to touch the part, again, without deforming the caliper. And if it is a round part or if it is a slot, you may have to do a little bit of a sweeping motion to ensure that you get either the largest diameter if you're measuring an ID or the smallest reading if you're measuring a slot width or something like that. So this is how you would use the caliper for an inside measurement. Most calipers of this size come with a depth rod at them, and the back of the caliper is that depth rod. And in some calipers, it could be a flat rectangular depth rod, or with this version of the 16ER, it's a round depth rod. So the probe is inserted into objects to determine how deep the hole or cut into the part is. So we ensure that not the jaws here, but the back of the caliper or the depth rod itself is clean. You get your zero position, and now you place the back end of the caliper over the hole or the slot, resting on the edge of the part. Then you open up the jaws enough to force the contact into the bottom of the recess without deforming the caliper or the rod. And there it is. You have the ability to read the depth of that part. There's a step function which is used to get the distance between different areas on a part. And within the caliper, you'll notice that the sliding jaw is kind of offset in the back of the fixed reference jaw. So you can use that step, and like in this case here, to reference on a pin or some reference on the part, and use the back part of the sliding jaw to measure this distance. So again, we ensure everything is clean, we have our zero position set, and then the head of the caliper is placed on the first reference, and the sliding part is brought into the other surface which we're going to make the distance measurement with. So again, once you have that set, you bring the jaws down, touch both surfaces, and you can read your measurement. You can also use the 16ER for differential measurements. A difference measurement can be used in any of the above examples. And instead of measuring or reading the measurement directly, we're going to compare one size to another. So in this case, again, everything is clean. We're going to place the jaws over our reference part and zero the caliper out. So for example, we got a master pin, which is our known diameter. We can zero it out or use an offset to show that value. And now every time we measure another part, we're going to compare that diameter to the first one. So we're going to see the difference if we're using a zero on the mastering feature. Sometimes that's easier to get a vision in somebody's mind of how much difference there is between the part rather than looking at the actual sizes themselves. So again, another version or another use of the 16ER. Now, the MarCal 16ER is like any other digital caliper. They're a sensitive and precise tool, so you need to handle them with care. Do not drop or use them for tapping items. Keep them clean, especially when measuring. Ensure the jaws are properly lined, they're not bent. You can hold them up to the light to make sure that they're not worn. And again, do not apply too much force on the jaws, which can deform the jaw or the frame. Now, There's lots of versatility with a digital caliper. It can measure lots of different things, but like any other instrument, you have to make sure that the part is positioned within the hand tool properly. So on the left side here, we showed a square little part which we're trying to measure the width on. You want to make sure that the part is square within the jaws. It's not angled or tilted like on the bottom picture there. And on the right side here, we have another thin part we're placing between the jaws. We want to again make sure that it's square and it's not at some angle when we're really not measuring the true thickness of the part. When using the small ID jaws, you have to keep the same thing in mind. You want to make sure that things are square. There's no angle that could cause a bad measuring reading. Same thing with depth gauges. Everything should be square, perpendicular, so that the true dimension is read. Now, what kind of accessories can you get for a MarCal 16 ER? Well, the most common one is a depth bridge. Now, we talked about the depth gauge being a very versatile tool, but often the holes or the reference side that you're trying to sit on is larger than the width of that caliper frame. So you can use a bridge to help set the part or set the caliper on the part. So this is a 75 millimeter wide reference addition, a bridge that you can use to span larger holes. And of course, the caliper uses a standard CR2032 battery, but again, with 3 years of battery life, you won't be replacing them very long. Now, while the 16ER is not a caliper that provides data collection capabilities, it is something to consider. And you can get yourself going with the 16ER, but just keep in mind that people are moving towards documentation, process control, process improvement, gauge tracking, and we can help you with all those types of products for data collection. Of course, we provide free MarCal professional software. Nobody can beat the price of free. And then with that software, you can take the wireless, the integrated wired products, or add-on wireless technology and send that information to a lot of different places, whether it be Excel spreadsheets, third-party software, or other processing programs. And with the MarCal, we have lots of different ways of collecting data, wireless, USB, RS-232, or even Digimatic formats. A very powerful free tool to know about. But we wanted to talk about, again, the 16ER, and it's July's product of the month. It's a very full-featured caliper, doesn't have data output. It's really meant for inspection areas. It's really the entry-level caliper, which is most commonly used throughout today's types of shops for making a variety of different measurements. And because it's Mahr's product of the month, it's a great value. We're often at promotional prices. And if you order the caliper this month, you'll get a free mug with that. So again, a full-feature caliper, depth rod, reference system, made to standards, lock feature. It's something to really look at, and it's really probably the most modern-looking caliper that's available today. So we discussed a little bit about the MarCal 16ER, its features, accessories, and applications, why it's the choice to be used in inspection areas, and because it's July's product of the month, it's a super great value. But you really need a company to support the products, and Mahr can do that for you. We have a broad range of industrial metrology. We have the application competence to support you. We have a full feature wireless hand tool portfolio to help you reach the demands of Industry 4.0. With our promotional prices and high quality, we can help you achieve the best value. So after this webinar, we're going to send you a link to recording so that you can pass this around if you need it, and a follow-up PDF flyer of the month data sheet. So again, thank you for your attention today. If you have any questions, send them to me through the chat feature or through my email address, and we'll get them answered for you. So again, thanks for attending and have a great day.